Hello, horse lovers. You're going to have to put up with me in this video. I'm going to be reaching in and out of frame a lot because I'll be reaching for different models. Because today I wanted to talk about different types of model horses. Because with the Christmas holidays coming up, I'm sure everybody, who loves horses is going to be asking the parent, I want a horse this year for Christmas, Mom. Please, Dad, can I get my own pony? And unfortunately, most parents are going to have to say no. Well, if you can't have your own horse, the next best thing, unless you are lucky enough to be able to take lessons, that would be the next best thing if you can hang out with a horse you don't own. But if you can't be around an actual live horse, then your next best thing is model horses. Now, the most popular model horses are almost unquestionably the Breyers. Breyer model horses have been around for decades. In fact, this one here is one that belonged to my mom in her collection. See if I can get, it's hard to film this way, but this is my mom's horse, Charcoal. She passed him on to me. Not that passed on, I mean, she's still very much alive, but Mom gave Charcoal to me. He is a family Arabian stallion mold. Very old, very beautiful. And now he is the traditional Breyer scale. Breyers come in different sizes. This is a model built in the Misty of Cincoteague uh, mold, Misty of Cincoteague mold. He is also traditional, but obviously smaller because he is a pony rather than a full-sized horse. But now, the next size down from the traditionals is your classics. Your classics include models like Black Beauty, his Mother Duchess, and of course Ginger and Mary Lakes, who are all part of the classic book Black Beauty. Now, you can get different size model horses. Oh, I'm not done talking about the other size models yet. Sorry, one thing at a time here. Again, I apologize for the movement of the camera going in and out of frame, but it's just hard to reach for all the horses. The next size down from the classics is the stablemates. And we have, paddock pills rather, paddock pills. This is a paddock pill. He is Starlight from the Saddle Club collection. And I'll show the whole Saddle Club collection another time when I talk about the Saddle Club books. But you can see we get smaller. Now, can we get smaller yet? Yes, we can with these little stablemates. This one is a customized Belgian mare. Shout out to Bits and Breyers Studios for painting this one. Bits and Breyers Studios also painted my beautiful Morgan mare doe over here. I call her doe because she kind of looked like a doe. Her coloring, the lighting doesn't show it very well, but her show name is Do Re Mi because Justin Morgan, who started the Morgan breed, was also a music teacher. So I like the musical connection. I'll talk more about model horse shows in a minute. Another little stablemate that I have is my little friend Danny Boy. If I can get it, it's hard to work with the laptop camera to get knowing something's going to be in frame. Sorry about that. But that's my little Danny Boy, an Irish draft stallion, or at least I think he's an Irish draft stallion. He's just listed as a draft horse. Some people have this particular model and show him as a Percheron. I show him as an Irish draft. You don't have to show, of course, but it's just one thing you can do. Now that you've seen the stablemates and the paddock pills, can you get even smaller yet? Yes, introducing the Micro Mini. This is the smallest they get. This is a little quarter horse, or Australian stock horse. He's shown us both, but I call this little guy Dust Bunny because My own horse, Bucky, looks about that color after he's done rolling in the dust, and my aunt happens to call him Dust Bunny when he does that. Now, those are the Breyers, and the ones that I've shown, most of them that I've shown so far are their original looks, but they can also be customized. Now, you can see the difference here in the way that they can look in the hands of a really talented artist. This one here is a regular Big Ben model before he's been customized. Little scuffed up, the camera doesn't exactly show it, but he's a little bit worse for wear. He's been a child's toy, he's been played with, very much loved. And now here is that same mold, a horse of that same mold, I should say, after being customized to a lovely bay color. You can see the beautiful facial markings painted on this one. Gorgeous job by another talented customizer. Some Breyers also come in limited runs. This is Irish Warrior, and you can see the SLT rather on the hip. Stands for State Line Tack. This was a limited run, only distributed by State Line Tack stores. Really rare, hard to find. I was very, very lucky to have an online friend who sold me one for an unbelievably good deal because this is a Secretariat mold, and she and I both love Secretariat. Like I said, this is Irish Warrior, is this actual horse limited run, hard to find, really great horse to have in your collection. Now, if you're interested in showing Breyers, are probably the model of horse you're going to show most often. And you can do either photo shows where you just send in a photograph. There's some really big photo shows online. There's some that are just put out in Facebook groups that are just for fun. I actually run a Facebook photo show for Breyers. I also compete in other shows. Obviously, I don't compete in my own. But my sister Rue and I help judge a group that where others compete. But you can also actually take your model horse to a live show, which is a huge deal because obviously a model horse can have little flaws that won't show up in a photo, but if you bring them to a live showing, they have to be perfect. One little speck of dust and the judge is like, nope. I have one little guy here who I didn't own him at the time he won his shows. This is a little Appaloosa. Beautiful facial markings again on this one. Beautiful, beautiful spots by the tail. Gorgeously customized, painted little model. And this one actually competed in what is called a NAN show, North American Nationals. And he actually qualified with this card, qualified to go to the national levels. I don't believe he ever showed at those levels. I have the ribbons that he won, and none of them are from NAN. It's not always easy to go to those shows because sometimes transportation and all that don't allow it, but they can be a really big deal. Now, other than your Breyers, if you're my age, you probably remember the Grand Champion horses, which were really popular. Now, there aren't many different molds to them. There's only like a few different styles, and they come in different colors, supposed to all be different breeds, but really, other than color, 90% of them all look the same. My favorite of my collection of Grand Champions is Midnight. He came with his blue ribbon. Again, it's hard to get in frame with this, but this is one of my favorites here, is Midnight. Grand Champion model. I don't know if you could see the little GC on his hip. It's hard to show it on a camera with the lighting. But anyway, that is a Grand Champion model, and they were very popular in the 90s. I had a whole bunch of them at one point. So there's loads of them. They were advertised as the most beautiful horses in the world. They're marketed a bit more for children than Breyers are. Breyers are seen more as collector's pieces. With Grand Champions, yeah, it's okay to play with them. Now, one type of model horse that's gaining more popularity lately is the Slike models. Now, they can be seen both as a toy and as a collector item. I have my little Hanoverian mare Nova over here. Getting the camera frame. Now, as you can see, still beautifully detailed, just as nice looking as a Breyer in my opinion. Again, hard to show on camera, but very nice detailing on the mane, especially on the coat. You can see they're not just painted, they have texture to the skin where it looks almost like fur. Very nicely detailed. So, absolutely nothing wrong with collecting those, and they have an advantage over Breyers in that they are hard rubber rather than plastic. If you happen to drop them, not gonna break. They hold up a lot better. You can find these at almost every Tractor Supply store. Very nice collector's pieces, I think. And a good starter collector model for kids if they want to move up from just regular toys, but you don't want to give them something that's highly breakable yet. Spike is a good way to go. Unfortunately, they only kind of come in that one scale, as opposed to Breyers, which come in all different sizes. Spike also makes beautiful other little animals, like they got this beautiful little golden doodle dog. They have all other kinds of dogs. They make cows. They make well, Breyer does too. They make dogs, cats, and other farm animals to some extent. But Slike is getting into them just as much as the horses. Here's a little Slike donkey. And a lot of Breyer shows also have a long year class where donkeys can show. Slike is starting to get more into that kind of thing too. Here's a little Slike donkey that I think is cute. There are other models that I don't have. There's Peter Stone is another very big name in the model show world. And they come with a bigger price tag than a Breyer. Now, Breyer prices vary. Customization is going to cost you usually, depending on the scale. Um, if you want a rarer model, that's going to cost you more. If a model is called a chalky, that means they have more of a chalky base under the paint. They are more rare, more valuable. So Breyers do fluctuate as far as cost, but Peter Stones tend to be more up there from what I've seen. And I don't actually own any Peter Stones, like I said, but I would prefer the Breyers anyway because Breyers look a little more realistic. Peter Stones tend to be more idealized, but they miss those little details that make a horse look more real rather than like something out of a fantasy. And if you want fantasy, nothing wrong with that. It just happens to be, what do you like to collect? So there's three really popular brands of model horses, like Breyers, Grand Champion, Spikes. So if you're looking for a gift idea for that horse obsessed friend who wants a horse but cannot have one, those are some good options, although um, they might already have one you're looking for. So, I mean, it's hard to know with collections, but if you know them in person, it's easy enough to find out. But there's some basics on your model horses, and it's a good way to get into um, it's a fun hobby whether or not you own real horses. I of course own my beloved Bucky, and I still collect, still have fun with it. So that's just me sharing some of what I know about Breyer models and other horse models. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, keep riding.